How you getting on, folks? Look at Fairy House didn't really go our way today. Like every other Fairy House, it just turns up a serious batch of seconditis. Overall, look at it was great racing, definitely throughout the day, and there was some very good horses to take out of it. But in terms of a betting perspective, it was absolutely atrocious. Say from my end of things anyway, but. Look at Humdor, very unlucky not to win. He was galloping all over the field before falling at the last. Um, Sean, I'm not going to try and pronounce the second part of it. Look at it ran a great race, a 5-1 for an each way shout. Um, One more light. Look at the drifts. Never really got into it. Chatham Street Lad was very, very poor. I thought. I honestly thought that he was going to go on to bigger and better things. And look at it was Dean's tipping the patron, but look at overall, I don't really know what went wrong with him. He just never seemed to jump right or whatever it was. Possibly he's just crying out for Darrow O'Keefe to be on his back. Um, that could be another thing as well. But as well as that, Alpha Mix unlucky. Look at I don't know. 5-1. It returned a nice little each way. King Alex. I I I don't know. I actually to be quite honest with you, I actually missed that race. And I can't remember what returned the winner, but um then as well the bumper horse then didn't really go the way we'd like to, but look at plenty of seconds, plenty of thirds, but not the ones that we wanted. Punchestown tomorrow though is a different kettle of fish. For those who have been following the page for a considerable length of time, you would know that Punchestown is definitely one of my better tracks in terms of strike rate, whatever it is. But there must be something in the air around Punchestown that I just seem to just get behind plenty of winners there, basically. Some very good racing on now tomorrow. I'm going to cover both meetings with Suddle and Punchestown as well, just for interest's sake more so than anything else. The fact that there's only two meetings on, I said I may as well. 12:50. No betting this race here. N will absolutely hose up. There's absolutely no doubt about it. In my personal opinion, anyway, I think overall the jumping end of things is going to be the winning and losing of this battle between himself and Assyrian for Lange. Now, when you look at the two, it's chalk and cheese. Assyrian for Lange is very much headstrong in terms of he's going to take Paul whatever way he is going, and Paul will more than likely have little or no say in it. He's just a lunatic. And as well as that, when you're a lunatic on the flat, you're a lunatic over jumps. He's very erratic at the best of times. He generally has a problem in his jumping, and even with the win in Punchestown in his first try, it was sketchy enough as jumping, and that also proved as well in Limerick then when falling. When all things considered, look at he was fairly foot perfect, but he's just a little bit, I don't know, frustrating, I think. But I think overall, I can honestly say NVLN should be winning this by between 5 and 10 lengths. I would be saying that. If both horses stay on their feet, I have no doubt about it that NVLN will, but I don't really know about Asterion for Lange whether he will or not. But if the two of them stay on their feet, both of them have a great, or well, look at both of them do have arguments to their case as well. Like Asterion for Lange is a grade one winning hurdler. Like there's no doubt about it. Like, and obviously look at NVLN looks to be the best horse of this generation. Between say graded chasers, graded hurdlers, novice chasers, novice hurdlers. Like there isn't anything that really screams out superstar quite so much as NVLN in my personal opinion. And I think, look at coming into the straight, I'd be expecting to see NVLN move up alongside Asterion for Lange. Slowly but surely, he's going to start pulling further and further in front. And I think by the line, he could well be 5 to 10 lengths in front. I don't know. It's a hard one to call, but I certainly think NVLN is the one to be on. Well, look at it's a no bet race, but I certainly think if you're going to be looking for a double or a treble or whatever you're going to be doing, N Violin is the one to be adding into your selection as ahead of Asterion for Lange. Next race then, the 120. I'm not going to be covering this one here simply because it's part of the patron tips. Um, Overall, look at it, it's a very hot race and it's a very good standard of race as well. But there's one horse in particular that I have picked out at a fairly nice price, and it should be capable of running a very, very good race. Next race then, the 150, my nap of the day for the YouTube tips. This one here is going to be Colonel Mustard here for Lorna Fowler, and Conor Orr, I think, is on his back. Currently priced in around 7-4. It's generally the best horse in the race. There's no doubt about it. Like, he is deserving favourite, and he is, after putting in some very, very credible races. Like, he's ran 3 times, and in those 3 runs he's been second, first and second, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, when you look at the quality of the field that he's in, he has the ability to polish these off at a fairly comfortable rate. And I think, look at Colin Mustard, he's a very interesting one for future reference, and everything else, all things considered, he should be definitely the one to be on. And at 7-4, it's a very nice price in my personal opinion. Next race then, the 220. It's another one of the patron tips. I'm not going to be covering that. 250 then, Favori Logique at 4-1. This one here, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is from Gavin Cromwell. Gavin Cromwell or Henry de Bramhead, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it written down here. I just have the names of the horses and the prices they're up. But he's in around 4-1. I think Keith Donoghue is on his back now tomorrow. Look, it's generally, you're looking for horses that seem to be, I suppose, unexposed and everything else like that. When you put handicaps into consideration, and this lad here was third last time out against plenty of these rivals here. It should be well capable of running a bit better now that the fitness run is in him, and everything else considered, he should be well capable of running a very, very decent race. It's a hard one to call, but I certainly think that this one here, Favori Logique, is certainly one to be keeping on the right side of anyway. Next race then, the 320. My next best of the day for the YouTube tips. I am going to be going with Christian Going Well for Oliver McKiernan, and Barry Brown, I think, is on his back. It's normally Barry Brown, but it could be Barry John Foley as well. This one here is priced in around 2-1. Because looking down through the list of runners here and looking down through the card, I was trying to find one that was a little bit, I suppose, better suited to conditions and everything else like that. I can't find it. I honestly can't see a horse that's going to really finish off the race as well as Christian Going Well. The only, I suppose, inkling that I might have is whether Christian Going Well is actually as strong in a finish as he looks. He looks generally like he's galloping all over the field, coming in maybe 2 furlongs out or a furlong and a half out, and suddenly he just hits a brick wall in terms of actually going about and finishing his race. That definitely would be a bit of a concern, but for me, it's a fairly weak enough contest in my personal opinion, and I think he should have the capabilities of polishing off the field without, I suppose, stressing too much about it or going too hard of a strain in this particular race now tomorrow. Finally then, the 350 then, the amateur riders race. I'm going to be backing Patrick Mullins here for William Durkin, I think is the name of the trainer, for Screaming Colours. This one here is trading in around 9-2. The reason why I'm basically going for this is not only the fact that he was second last time out, but the fact that Patrick Mullins takes the ride. It's not necessarily the most common connections that you'd see pairing up with each other between Patrick Mullins and William Durkin, but the fact that he was second last time out surely shows to the world that he is in fine form, and he is, I suppose, hitting his peak now at this stage. The fact that Patrick Mullins takes the ride definitely in my personal opinion, the best amateur in Ireland at the moment. Um, it screams potential winner, and a 9-2. I honestly think that it's certainly well worth considering, and it should be well supported. Being backed in, I suppose, from 9-2 by, I suppose, starting time tomorrow. Moving on then to Subtle, I am literally just going to fly through these because I have little or no knowledge of most of them. But I was just going through the card and I was basically looking for, I suppose, nice stalls, nice stall numbers, course and distance winners, jockeys in form, trainers in form, different things like that. There are some very, very nice each way prices, certainly on, to my eye anyway, and that would be seriously worth considering for my personal opinion, but I wouldn't be going a hell of a lot mad in this particular meeting now tomorrow. I'd be focusing more on Punchestown than I would be Subtle now tomorrow, but look at, hopefully for those who might be getting on board and getting on behind us, it might throw out a few very, very nice price winners. First one I am going to be going with is the 105 Baroness Rachel for Holly Dial, currently priced in around 9-1. Look at it; it looks interesting. The fact that Holly Dial is on board, it wouldn't necessarily need to find a hell of a lot. Holly is the type of girl that can, I suppose, she can find the best out of a bad horse, and she can make a bad horse look fairly decent, without being disrespectful to connections or anything else like that. But I honestly don't know too much about this particular horse. Just the fact that Holly Dial is on board, it might be well worth considering. 135 then, I'm not convinced with the odds on favourite here. I think, look at, Walsing at 5-1 is certainly more interesting in an each way perspective. Like, if this horse comes second tomorrow, you're going to be getting, I suppose, a return of in or around even money. So you'll be getting your money back. I don't know. I think he's worth a cheeky little each way for this particular race now tomorrow. 205 then, Headland at 9-1 each way. I honestly don't know too much, a hell of a lot about them, but it certainly looks like it's hitting form, and it's, if I'm not mistaken, it was a course and distance winner as well. 235 then, Notation. I think Notation is the name of it. I could be wrong. Currently priced in around 11-10. This is going to be my nap of the day. It was a very, very comfortable winner last time out by 16 lengths. Gone up £10 since, but if it shows any sort of form that particular day, it's going to win here hands and heels, and it's going to win going away. I think 11-10 is absolutely bang on, and I think it's a great price. But look at it could be just, I suppose, a bit interesting more so than anything else. 305 then, Dramatista at 11-4 is going to be my next best. This one here, obviously, for Nick Bradley's connections and everything else like that. I think Ben Curtis rides him tomorrow. Obviously, Ben is a former all-weather champion. If he isn't the all-weather champion for this year, I can't be too certain. But look at the favourite here, Mackie or Mucky or something along the lines like that. Winner last 2 times. It's gone up a hell of a lot in the handicap, and it just looks like now, the fact that it's running off career high mark, that it's open to, I suppose, be caught by a potential improver. And the fact that this Dramatista, I think, was second or third or fourth. One of the two anyway. There's a heap of seconds or thirds or fourths in his form book, but I just can't place which way it went. He's been thereabouts, basically, is what I'm trying to say. He should be well capable of running a fairly decent race, and I would be expecting him to put this short price favourite fairly close now tomorrow, and 11-4 looks to be a nice price. 335 then, Alsvinder at 10-1 at an each way perspective. I'm nearly certain this one is a multiple course and distance winner, so that alone should be well worth considering as an each way perspective. It obviously likes it around here. it obviously runs a fairly decent standard around this particular track. I think it's drawn in stall 3, if I'm not mistaken. I could be totally wrong, but um, look, at generally, I would more than likely go with the more consistent runners and the more, I suppose, consistent runners around these sorts of tracks. I hate the all weather. Well, I don't hate the all weather, but I'm not a big fan of the English all weather because it's just generally it's just generally so open in terms of a betting perspective. Like you're nearly better off just throwing your money out the car window than putting a bet on in an English all weather. So look at I don't know, maybe Al Splendor a 10-1 at an each way perspective might be well worth considering, but it could bite me in the arse by this time tomorrow. Finally, then the 405, I am going to go with Ivor Reflection at 8-1 again for Holly Doyle. I think it was a course winner last time out. No, not last time out. Second last time. Um, Look at the fact that it won around Suddle before. It's certainly interesting, and it looks like it has a good race in him. And the fact that Holly Doyle is booked to ride, to me anyway, it looks like they're going to be going for a good shout and a good chance. But like, you may as well really be asking the wall than asking me. But they're my selections for Suddle tomorrow. I'm certainly not going to be having a bet there tomorrow. If you're having a bet, the very best of luck. In terms of Punchestown, I really, really like the look of this Colin Mustard at 7-4 as the nap of the day. I honestly can't understand how he's such a big price, considering I personally thought he was going to go off a shade of odds on. But anything above even money is, well, it certainly looks like it's printing money for Colin Mustard now tomorrow. Please make sure to keep liking, sharing, subscribing. Hopefully by this time, I suppose around this time in February, I'd be hoping to get to close to 400 subscribers for the YouTube. So look, at hopefully we get there. If we don't, I'm not going to really lose any sleep over it. But it's just a personal goal that I'd like to meet. As well as that, make sure to tune over to the Irish Racing Hour, which is our weekly podcast for, I suppose, the promotion of Irish racing, to help fund us. We're a self-funded channel, so we have set up a Patreon account for €10 a month. Basically, what it gets you is you're getting daily tips from the three of us in the podcast, and as well as that, you're automatically entered into our monthly giveaways as well. So look, at generally it definitely does work out to be great value for money. We're at 62.86 points in profit overall. So look, at that's generally very, very good. Look, at hopefully you all enjoy the Sunday now, and hopefully we'll be coming back here tomorrow evening with plenty of winners to our name. Basically, that's all for me. Look, at if you're having a bet tomorrow, the very best of luck. Please make sure to keep liking, sharing, subscribing, and yeah, that's about it. Thanks very much.